Hey, what's up and good morning everybody. This is David Pendleton and thank you for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be covering Golf Impact and this is going to be the Amateur Division Paris Championship. I'm going to show you my replays of my front 9 holes. I'm very happy with how I was able to perform in the final round. Currently sitting in first place and I do hope that it holds. If this is your first time checking out my channel, I hope you become a subscriber. And if you like my content, take a moment there to hit the thumbs up button and give the video a like. That would be much appreciated. All right, hole number 1 is a shorter par 4. So here we're going to use the VEGA ball. And the reason that we're using the VEGA ball is to get that +6 power. And remember, we do use a little bit better balls in the finals than we do in round 1 or round 2. We just kind of pick and choose as we go, but we really want to keep these types of balls, the more expensive balls in the game, for the final round when we're really trying to get ourselves separated from the field. Here you see I go with quite a bit of overpower with about half a ball a curl to the right. We are able to really get this ball nicely up the fairway, leaving us for a short shot to try to pick up the eagle. Now here on hole number 1, I don't pick up the eagle, but it is a very, very good opportunity for you to get this drop. You'll notice here with the wedge, I put my ball guideline to the hole. And unfortunately, we hit a great shot. Who knows what would have happened with a perfect ball, but you need to hit perfect in order to try to get these drops, and we do get a great ball to start off. But that's all right. Hopefully you hit perfect. This takes us into hole number 2. Hole number 2, we are using a basic ball. One thing here, that if you wanted to use a different ball, you could use something with some better wind resistance. We don't need power at all, but like maybe a clover ball, something with low power but good wind resistance would be nice. Take a note of where I'm lining up here. I'm offsetting my ball guideline to the left-hand side of the cup, kind of really one vertical green square row over, with my yellow ring right here at the rough line. 6.9 wind means I need to pull 3.5 rings, which is what I do right here. Now we do get a perfect ball, so you'll be able to judge based off how this ball bounces and rolls onto the green on what you might want to do a little bit differently. The first thing that we learned is the speed is good, so we like the amount of backspin that we used on this shot. The only thing that we need to do is possibly start to move our target over to the right-hand side a little bit and not use such a big offset. Hole number 3 is our first par 5. Here we'll use a SPICA ball, again, because we do like the power of this one. This is the +6. And we get big wind resistance at a -30. The wind resistance is not important on shot number 1, but it is definitely important on shot number 2. So here you see we have that 4.6 mile per hour wind. That means I'm going to move this just under 2.5 rings. Don't go too dangerous with this drive, because this is one of those shots where you want to make sure that you absolutely land on the fairway, because landing in the rough is going to give you a very difficult time to pick up the eagle on this hole. And this is a hole that we definitely need to eagle in order to win the tournament and compete. That takes us to shot number 2. Shot number 2, you'll see right here, I'm going to go with backspin. This is about 3 bars of backspin for where I'm at on my drive. But let's take a look at the end of the day on where I end up aiming. The aiming will be the most important part, I believe. So if you can see there, you can kind of notice that my ball guideline looks like it's right of the cup. And if you notice where the very end of my ball guideline is kind of aiming at the corner of that dark green square. Now here we do make our adjustment for the wind. Well, we try to. So when you see here, when I try to pull my rings, I pull into overpower, meaning I cannot adjust my rings properly. So what I do is I use just a little bit of overpower on the shot, not a whole lot. But here we get pretty lucky. Anytime you're using an overpowered shot from that far of a distance, we were able to get that ball to go right in the cup for an albatross. We'll take a little luck in the final round for sure, sometimes it takes that to win too. Here we go to hole number 4. We're going to keep it going with the SPICA ball, again this time because of the power, and we do want the wind resistance. We are getting straight up headwind on this hole, so for me, I'm just letting it fly on hole number 4 drive. I'm hitting it as hard as I can, as far as I can, getting ourselves really nicely onto the fairway here. And that'll leave us for, you know, a longer shot for shot number 2 in order to try to pick up an extra eagle. This one's not the easiest one to make, but you can see here we are with the long iron. And I do go with a backspin approach. Not full backspin. I'm kind of gonna let my ball bounce towards the hole here. But I try to zoom in and get as center of cup as I can. Just like that, okay. 2.9 means I need to pull about 1.5 rings. Not quite, but right under 1.5. We hit a perfect ball. And here, this one is a little bit weird as it ends up pretty left of the hole, but obviously onto the green, picking up a very safe birdie on hole number 4. Hole number 5, we're going to be using a basic ball, and we're going to be pulling less rings here. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, look at the wind. It's 4.8 miles per hour. That means technically, if you go by the game standards, I need to pull this one almost 2.5 rings. It'd be just under 2.5 rings. But there's something about this hole that plays a little bit differently than the normal adjustment. First thing here, we need to look at the top spin that I'm using combined with my aim point. Here you see I settled on about 3 bars of top spin, and my yellow ring is directly on the rough line there, with my ball guide line going down the center of the fairway, aiming right at the hole. Now here, instead of moving 2.5 rings, look at this. I only move it 2. I took a little bit of the pull off just because this hole's been playing that way all tournament long. You'll notice here I hit a perfect ball, and this thing comes in really nicely for a hole-in-one. So just be careful on that hole. Just make sure you pull less rings than you normally would. I'm still working on the math. I've been taking notes as I go. I'm still working on the math to figure out, you know, if we're playing these negative elevation and what the best way to explain that would be, you know, without any apps or anything at the moment. So right now I'm doing everything pencil and paper in my head, and I'm trying to make it as easy and basic for you to understand as I can at the moment while the game is still fairly new. Takes us into hole number 6. Hole number 6 is another par 5. This is a very long par 5, all right? We want to make sure 100% that no matter what, we land on the fairway here. We are using another VEGA ball just to get that power. You see here, I'm really reaching back into overpower. This is one that we got to gamble a little bit on the drive because we want as many yards as we can get to help us with shot number 2. You see here we get a nice little fairway roll. You know, that's really lovely because that's going to help us pick up a few extra yards, making shot number 2 even easier. But you're going to see here that getting headwind again, we're at maximum distance of our club. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room to use a less powerful ball on this hole without going with really, really crazy overpower. You'll notice here on shot number 2, I also went with no spin on my ball. This is a no spin approach. Take a look at where the end of my ball guide line is pointing. It's pointing right there, sort of in the middle of the fringe, almost aiming just to the right of the hole, if we had to take a guess on where that's aiming. Here we get a perfect ball. And we're able to get this one very nicely into the cup for an albatross as well. So that's really awesome, you know, so far to show you 2 albatrosses on the first 2 par 5s. Takes us into hole number 7. Hole number 7, you know what? We're going to go ahead and reach deep into the golf bag and pull out a France ball. What would the Paris Championship be without a France ball? The thing I like about this game is these premium balls you can buy with real money, which I did not. Or sometimes they show up in your daily deal where you can buy a few of them for like 140 gems. I think you get like 5 or 10 for 140 gems. Pretty cool. So I had some based off that deal. And you know what? I thought this was a really good time to use it. The reason I thought it was a good time to use it is because this is a very dangerous drive. Probably the hardest drive on this tournament for a par 4. But look what we're going to get here. We're going to get plus 14% wind or plus 14% power, and then minus 20% wind resistance. So we're going to be calming the wind down a little bit, but we're also going to get a whole lot of power, which is good. I'm sorry you hear my cat in the background. If you follow me, you know that's a common thing. He knows when I'm doing videos. He's a Maine Coon, so he's very, very talkative, and he wants my attention. But here we go. We're going to go with a lot of top spin and about half the amount of side spin this ball allows us to have. Here, I'm going to go for the bounce over shot. I almost thought about trying to clear the whole fairway, but I thought that would be a little bit dangerous. So I'm going to go for the bounce over shot, and I know I left myself a little bit of room for a little bit of overpower and half a ball of curl to the right. The thing that we like about this is, look at this, we get a really nice push here. Even in the rain, we get plenty of yards on the drive, and we're only 81 yards away from the pin. Takes us right here to shot number 2. It's always nice when we're able to try to get these extra drops with our short iron or sometimes even our wedge. But here, you'll notice I'm going with about, half the amount of backspin that this ball allows us to have. Putting my ball guideline right to the hole. Perfect ball. And we're able to get this thing to drop in there for an eagle. So a lot of drops on the front 9 to share with you. Makes the replays very exciting for me, because then I hope it really helps people. Hole number 8, we're going to do the same thing that I showed you on the last par 3, to where we're going to be pulling less rings, all right? Now, one thing about this hole is if you get really high wind, you could get caught in between clubs. And what that means is when you go to pull your rings, it switches over to a different club. So you have to be very careful of that. If you're someone who's playing with more powerful balls, you're probably not going to run into that situation on this hole. But you can definitely run into it with a basic ball or a feather ball. So just be careful. But here, we don't run into that issue. But I do want you to notice, look at this, 5.7 wind. That technically means I need to pull just under 3 rings if you're going by the game's math. But I do not do that. I pull it just above 2 rings. We get a perfect ball. And check this one out here. If we'd have just pulled maybe 0.2 more rings, we could have been in the hole for another hole in one. So very, very close. That one just needs a minor tweak on your end to try to get that one in the hole. Hey, again, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you become a subscriber, and I hope you hit the thumbs up button. This takes us on to hole number 9. Hole number 9, we put on full top spin. We put our yellow ring right there to the left of the sand trap, and that's all. We don't have to adjust for elevation, or adjust for the wind on this hole. We're just going to do half a ball of curl to the right and really just let this ball rip. This is the easiest of the par 5s to pick up the eagle on. And that takes us into our last shot here of the front 9. And yes, I will have the back 9 loaded right up after this. This is something I'm going to try to do for all the tournaments that I'm available to do so. If you do like my work and you'd like to support my channel, you can always find a link to my PayPal in the comments below. Anything helps. Or if you'd like to become a member of the channel as well, check out the video description too. But here, this is the final shot, again, of the front 9. We do hit the perfect ball. We get this ball to bounce very nicely up the fairway. And just there, about 1 green square right of the hole and a little bit long. So we needed a little bit more backspin and to move our landing target just a little bit. Hey, best of luck. Let me know how you do in the comments below, and thank you for watching.